What is the contribution of the CWA in the development of smart cities in Mauritius?
Well, Central Water Authority is a very important institution for the development of Mauritius. I'll give you some statistics. 45 years ago, we were only having 68,000 customers, and today we are having something like 375,000 customers on the island. A significant increase in number of consumers on the island. Smart city is a very important component, but at the end of the day, whether you're doing smart city, whether you're doing water for housing, social housing, or for hotels, or for any sector of the economy, it's important that we give water in a very equitable manner. So for us, it's important, yes, to have smart cities on the island, but at the end of the day, it's important also that we give water to all the other stakeholders and all the other consumers on the island. Well, luckily, I can say that almost all consumers are connected. The only consumers that are not connected are usually people who don't have, we call them the squatters, that they don't have a residence per se or a property on their name. But otherwise, all the consumers are connected on the island via a system of almost 5,500 kilometers of pipeline, which is a very extensive pipeline that goes all over the island.
What about the target of providing water 24/7 throughout the country?
What? It's not, the target is first of all that we distribute the resources that we have in a very equitable manner. So we don't favor a particular consumer to another consumer. So for us, our objective first of all is to provide water, which is our mission after all of the Central Water Authority, is to provide water round the clock, at a very affordable price, and of water of great quality, which indeed we do. But to achieve this, it's an objective for us to achieve. But before we arrive to this objective, I think it's important that we get people who are getting water less than 8 hours a day up to more hours of supply. So our strategy has been twofold. First of all, increase the hours of supply across the island to achieve the objective of 24/7, which we have made great milestone, I must say, in terms of numbers. Today we are talking something like 245,000 people as opposed to 160,000 people 4 years ago. Regions such as Pérébert, Ficanflac, Bellon in the south, Port Louis, all these areas, the list is long. We're suffering water 24/7, but we have been able to take that target to a new level, which is giving these consumers 24/7. But most significant, that most people don't talk about, is the people who are receiving water less than 8 hours a day, which amounts to almost 16,000 people 4 years ago. And today, I must say, the numbers have shrunk to almost just under 2,000.
What are the other challenges you faced to be able to achieve this target?
Well, there are many reasons why people don't get water 24/7. First reason is the mismatch between supply and demand. There are areas where the supply exceeds the demand. That over the years, so we can have water all around, even in the dry season. That's the first reason. Or the other reason is the demand is much higher than the supply because of the system that we have, where you don't have enough water to supply a certain region. The second reason is during the year, you have two types of season: the winter season, which is normally a summer season, which is normally very wet, and a dry spell in winter, and a dry season where there's not enough water, which coincides with the harvest season, coincide with the tourism sector having a lot of demand for water. There's the festivities, and also at the end of when it comes to the end of the year, people do stay at home, do a lot of irrigation, have a lot more showers. These put a lot of pressure on the Central Water Authority to provide water during that peak season, which we have to prepare. As you know, we have an aging network, and the Central Water Authority has been one of the poor institutions through successive government when it comes to upgrading its basic asset. Luckily, the government now has been given significant boost in terms of improvement of the water supply to achieve the objective of 24/7. And as we've seen and discussed, the answers are here. But most importantly, we have a plan, strategies in terms of investment. First, we have to increase the production of water. And today I must say that we are producing almost 800,000 meter cube, equivalent to 800 million liters per day. And we were doing only half of that a couple of years ago. So production of water is important. Secondly, once you increase the production of water, you also must have service reservoir. So we are also building capacity for service reservoir. So once you treat the water, you have to put it into the service reservoir. And we also know, and we are aware of the problem of non-revenue water, which is where we have leakages in the system. And this has to be done by changing of pipes. So the changing of pipes are happening. And I must say we have, over the last 4 years, improved the network, doing over 450 kilometers of pipelines, whether it's operational side, whether it's investment side, whether when there are projects that are happening, we are changing pipes. It's important. It's important because we have 1,600 kilometers of pipelines which are defective, and we are changing that. So the infrastructure upgrading is significant to the objective of achieving water 24/7. But also, we also recognize that we have an issue with consumer demand increasing, and Mauritius is known to be one of the world champion in terms of consumers using one of the highest amount of water in the world, which is about 180 liters per day, compared to about 90 in Singapore, 100 liters per day for those people who are living in Europe. So we are a nation that wastes water, and there is a lot of work to be done in terms of how we conserve water. We at Central Water Authority is doing our best to reduce these leakages and wastage, and we also expect the consumers to do the same. Of course, consumers' lifestyle have changed. They are using more washing machine, they're having hot water, hot showers, and so on and so forth. These happens, but I think it's important also that there is responsibility for the consumers to also reduce the amount of water that they use to an optimum level. So these are things that we are doing, and we recognize it's important that it has to be done. And of course, you cannot do that overnight. Changing this amount of pipelines takes time, because you can only have a capacity to change pipes to up to 150 kilometers per year. Otherwise, you will cause a lot of congestion on the road. So today, I must say, places such as Mauritian, Pérébert, Mont-Saint-François, Roselle, Rempart, in the south, in the east, Ville-Noire, Rosebel, Cano, there has been a vast chantier of pipe replacement which are coming to an end, and we have seen the improvement in people's lives.
How much have been invested in the water sector since 2015?
Well, since 2015, we have invested almost over 5 billion rupees of water, doing more treatment plants, doing more service reservoir, doing more in terms of changing of pipes, and these are things that has happened. But also, it's important to understand this issue of water in Mauritius. We live in a small island, and as everyone knows, the water has to be managed properly over the year. And the question that most Mauritians ask, why is it when there's heavy rainfall, all the water goes into the sea? So what we also have done, in addition, is look at the issue of mismatch of supply and demand. So we have taken this strategy that during a lot of rainy season, we have invested heavily in mobile filtration plant, which is a form of a container that we can plug and play. So basically, you can treat water at source from borehole nearby, from also rivers that we can treat. So the water that goes to the sea are captured early on, and we can conserve our water in our reservoir through the latest time in summer. Because you must also note that 50% of our water come from boreholes, which is underground water, and 50% come from service reservoir. So if you can capture the water that is runoff, for us it's important. And today I have the pleasure to announce that we have already installed 15 filtration plant mobile around the island, which has brought significant impact to people's lives, increasing hours of supply in region from 8 hours to almost 16, 17 hours. Every year we suffer problems in areas such as Péribert, Fic-en-Flac, Grand Gobe, Caroline, Trou-de-Deuce. But with this filtration plant and also in Mont Blanc, but with this filtration plant that we have installed, we have managed to improve our supply in almost all these regions.
How much water does Mauritius lose each year?
To understand the water losses, which we call unaccounted water, there are many factors. First factor is poor metering. So basically, we have an issue of how much water we are putting in the system and how much is measured. And this is why first thing we did recently is to look at our meters. We had over 100,000 meters which was not functioning, so they were reading 0. So when you put an amount in and you don't read anything, you can say the water is unaccounted. This is one of what they call the commercial losses, and we have replaced almost 80,000 of those meters in place to better bill the water that we are distributing the population. Secondly, we have an issue of people stealing water on the island. They try to bypass our meters, and that we are working heavily on this to ensure that people don't steal water. It is unfair that water is very, very cheap, in one of the cheapest water in the world, and yet people are stealing these important resources. They do a lot of bypasses. They connect before the actual bill. And third reason is what you call physical losses. So basically pipe which are damaged along the route. So if you combine them, some regions we have up to 55% of the water is unaccounted because of the three reasons listed, whether it's because of theft, whether it's because of physical loss, or whether it's because of poor metering. And other regions there are up to 30. And we have seen a witness wherever we have changed both pipes and meters, we have improved the amount of water which is unaccounted down to almost 12 to 13%. So that is a great milestone in itself. But more effort should be. We are making more effort now to ensure that this water, unaccounted water, is reduced. This is one of the biggest challenges of any utility companies in the world. To be efficient and effective, more water efficiency, and we know water is a very important commodity. In the world, almost 2 billion people in the world don't have access to clean water. We only have 0.007 of fresh water in the world, of all the water that you have, including the ocean, which is used for drinking purposes. This amount is shrinking, and the population is increasing. With a population of almost 17 billion people, combined with the effect of climatic change, which we have witnessed. Every year we see how the weather pattern has changed. Recently, as this year, from March to April and beginning of May, when we witness low amount of rainfall for average of the year. And it's going to repeat itself. So for us, it's how to manage this issue of growing demand, and how do we treat this commodity with respect. So it's important that first of all we manage this water well and become more efficient in our way to distribute the water to the whole population.
What's the next big thing in water?
Well, the next big thing is how we value the most important commodity in the world. It's not gold, it is not silver, it's not titanium, it's water. The biggest challenge in the world is how do we look at this issue of scarcity. Water is becoming more and more scarce. Of all the 5-6 big underground waters in the world, they are shrinking. They're shrinking rapidly, and people are demanding more and more water. There's more urbanization happening in areas where there is no water. Climatic change is becoming a big issue in this water. Throughout the world, with urbanization in Africa and other places, all these countries has never invested in the water system. It's only now that they are investing in this area of water, and we also have a challenge in the world where we don't have enough water sector engineers and resources to ensure that the development in water can go rapidly, having all the resources, physical resources, which is the water, but human resources to be able to distribute water. We've seen areas such as Ethiopia fighting with Egypt about the Nile River. We've seen areas such as Syria in the Middle East. It's about water also. Part of the problem is about water. We've seen issues in the US. It's about water. India and Bangladesh is about water. China and its neighbors is about water. Singapore, Malaysia, it's all about water. So the country who can manage this issue of water has a lot of advantage. At the end of the day, I go back to the basic principle of life, which is about Maslow, the basic necessities of life, which is food, energy, and water. So food, we need water for food, whether you want to eat beef, whether you want to eat mutton, lamb, chicken, you want to eat grain, vegetable, you need water. So I'm not talking just purely about potable water, I'm also talking about water for other resources, for other production, for industries. These are things that you need. So energy, food and energy and water are the three trinity, which is important for us to look at in a holistic way, to add also to the environment. We can also see the destructive forces of water. Water can destroy literally in no time, with tsunamis, with this issue of heavy rainfall, floods, rising water level, are all issues to do with water. The objective of achieving 24/7 is a teamwork, and I must say that with government support and with the dedication of the minister himself, who is pushing us hard, and his support at policy level to make things happen, we are also moving in the right direction. We also have a very strong board and a board the chairperson, and also the whole team of Central Water Authority is working very hard. And as a unit, we are making a long stride in this objective of working 24/7. And I also like to thank personally the Minister for all the support he's given to the Central Water Authority to making it happen.